This is literally the fourth video that I have made today on Tuesday about the Nintendo Switch 2, but I'm saving this one for your morning consumption on Wednesday morning. But this whole situation has just been insane. I do not recall a system ever having so many questions, ever having so much red tape surrounding it, and just having these bizarre, almost once in a lifetime sort of situations attached to it. But hey, the Nintendo Switch 2 is indeed that system. So today we're going to talk about two things when it comes to the Switch 2. The main thing being that pre-orders to the US are being canceled, and that's just, oh my, oh my. But the first thing I do want to talk about is something that a lot of people have been confused on, rightfully so, because I mean, Nintendo just hasn't done the greatest job of explaining some of these different things. And that involves the Nintendo Switch 2 games that are the digital cards that essentially there's nothing on the cartridge. You pop in that cartridge and then that's it. It's kind of like a download to your Nintendo Switch 2 system. Now, with this, we saw this with various games on the Nintendo Switch 1, mostly third-party games where you would have to download a large chunk of the game, but there was at least something on the cartridge that would kind of give you access to either a little portion of the download or at least a way for the Nintendo Switch 1 to realize, hey, this is a physical cartridge in here. It's just I'm having to download all of this stuff. But by removing any sort of data from the cartridge itself, many people were worried about that sort of thing. And even me personally, I was kind of like, well, what's the difference between this and a digital edition if you have to download everything? But there is actually a benefit to buying the physical edition of these digital downloads in terms of what you can do with them, because the cartridge isn't attached to a Nintendo Switch system or attached to a Nintendo Switch account, meaning that you can actually lend those cartridges out to people or even sell them on the secondary market when you are done with the game. So it's actually kind of a bit of a genius way to circumvent the all digital future to where you can still get value for that digital cartridge. That little physical thing that you pop into your system is going to allow you to be able to sell that digital copy of a game. So there is still a benefit to doing it. Now, yes, the physical purists will say, oh, well, it's still not the physical version on a cartridge. You're still contingent on servers, blah, blah, blah. And you're not wrong. I'm just trying to look at it from a more positive perspective of things, from the perspective of at least this digital download has value. So if you want to sell it, or if the game itself goes up in price, or whatever the case may be, you can't do any of that sort of stuff with a digital copy of a game. Once you have a digital copy of a game and you download that game, that's it. You're done. It's tied to your account. It's tied to your system. It is yours forever. Whereas with this, at least you get a little bit of leeway. So I think that makes, it makes him a little more attractive to me. I'm still not going to go out and buy every single one of them, but something like Street Fighter 6, like knowing that if needed, which I don't really foresee an episode where I'd ever need to sell something, but if I wanted to, I guess there's a better thing. If I wanted to, not necessarily a need, but a want to basically sell the copy of the game or trade in the copy of a game to get something else, now you can do that with these digital download cartridges. So just something I found a bit interesting, something that once again was very confusing. Even myself, I was kind of like, well, how is this any different than just downloading the game digitally? It's just now you have a little piece of plastic involved in it, but there is some additional value with that. And then the second thing we're going to talk about in this video, which is kind of the more negative thing, is pre-orders have gone up in various places for the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, yesterday we talked about how Canada is now preempting their pre-order process, there's a lot of alliteration there, for the Nintendo Switch 2 to line up with the United States. So many people were like, all right, screw it. I'll get it off of Amazon UK because pre-orders went up on Amazon UK for the Nintendo Switch 2. So people were buying games, people were buying systems, and then Well, all of a sudden, Amazon UK started realizing that people in the United States were pre-ordering the system and is canceling pre-orders. There are several people that I know personally that went on to Amazon UK. They were like, look, I'm not going to mess around with this sort of stuff. If I got to pay a little bit more, whatever, at least I don't have to worry about this. And went over to Amazon UK, put in their pre-order, and then it went through and then was denied once they realized it was a United States address that they are shipping to. So now this region free system, except in Japan where there is a region locked edition that is substantially cheaper than the Switch 2 that everyone else is getting, this region free system, you can't even pre-order it in other places and have it shipped to the United States. Why not? Why is the UK? You could buy whatever from the UK. The tariffs haven't done anything with that. They haven't changed anything with that. Like, this is just, it's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me just how all of these little things are adding up with this, because we don't know the price of the system anymore in the United States. I am sorry. Nintendo themselves have not confirmed to that price point since the tariffs have changed, and they said that they are addressing things based on the current tariff changes. The $450 and $500 price point directly from Nintendo themselves was pre-new tariff era. Now, you could say, well, there's systems here. Why would it matter in any sort of way? But maybe they're looking at long-term stuff. Maybe they're thinking of changing it. The only thing that they have confirmed is that the system is still coming out on June 5th. They haven't confirmed that price point. And for retailers to be denying people, you know, to be able to pre-order it from one region and have it come to another, that's just absolutely insane to me, because what does the retailer care? The retailer shouldn't care because it has nothing to do with them. They're making their money. But Amazon is canceling people's Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders if you are going onto the UK website and trying to pre-order it and have it shipped to the United States. This is craziness. This is going to be, you know, I don't want to say a disaster of a rollout, because I think once the system actually comes out and once the games start hitting and stuff like that, people are going to forget about all of this sort of stuff. This is definitely a bit of a time capsule sort of issue. But just that the fact that it's happening right now and the fact that it's happening with Nintendo, it's just very strange to me. You know, like I've said, they're in a different sort of position. I had some people comment on yesterday's video saying that Nintendo was never the value company, maybe on the console side of things, but definitely not in the games, because the games never went down in price. First and foremost, I clearly specified that Nintendo has been the value side of the console side of things pretty much, you know, since stiff competition started coming around. But even talking about the games, it wasn't until the Nintendo Switch that we didn't have a player's choice or a Nintendo Selects versions of games. They always have been the cheaper alternative with things like this, and they've always had different things going on to you know, circumvent situations happening. But it seems like they don't have any of that this time around. And some of it is their fault. Some of it is the world's fault and the economy's fault. But man, oh man. So don't even bother trying to get one from the UK, because they're not going to ship it. Your pre-order is going to get canceled and you're going to waste your time. The saga continues. Wu-Tang! Wu-Tang! Folks, let me know what you think of all this in the comments section down below. Did you try to get one from Amazon UK? I guess if you got like a plug in the UK, what you could do, or like a friend in the UK, you could pre-order it, have it sent to them, and then they would send it to you. And then you wouldn't have to like worry about anything. But I mean, I don't know. You might be better off just trying to buy it whenever pre-orders go up in the United States. Some people seem to think that they're going to go up today anyways, and like this was a red herring, or maybe it'll be during the Mario Kart World Direct or something like that. I don't know. Just, they need to go ahead and do this. And as always, folks, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Check out all the other videos from yesterday as well, including one on the second channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.